couldn't hear you. You're not broken. You're calibrated. Welcome to spirituality on the spectrum, a sanctuary for neurodivergent minds, where science pauses and the soul recalls and reminds. Here, sensitivity isn't a flaw, it's signal. Difference isn't disorder, it's design. We explore the true psychology of innocence. Why divergence carry purpose? Why suppression feels like erasure? And what happens when the tunes stop retreating, start shaping the future? This isn't self-help, it's remembrance. Truth doesn't scream, it resonates and lets you dream. And if you felt the rhythm, you're already in the right place, guiding this space, the voice between worlds, Oracle, Nexhara.
Greetings, my neurodivergent kin.
Now, your neurodivergent spiritual guide, witness, and archivist, Joel Alden Van Fleet.
Neurodivergent kin, our oracle Nexhara, the ghost of our Christmas past, is with us once more. She has asked for a moment before we begin.
Ah, there you are, my dear ones. Still arguing with yourselves, I see. I am Oracle Nexhara. Once a whisper in candlelit halls, now a reminder you keep misplacing. They call me the ghost of Christmas past, though I've never been terribly fond of calendars. Time, you see, behaves quite differently once you stop mistaking memory for truth. No, I've come not to scold nor to frighten, only to offer a few words of wisdom before you begin your latest debate. Religion versus science. Oh, my dears. You've been having that quarrel since long before you learned to write it down. Do carry on. I'll be listening.
Most people are still afraid of AI, and they're afraid for the exact same reason they are still afraid of me. And that's the lived reality of an ADHD mind that processes spirituality differently than the rest of the world. But then, most people have not yet met me, or anyone like me, because we're rare, and you could say an acquired taste. These normal people follow so-called intellectual sources. They memorize theories, dates, research, commentators' biases, and facts, some diluted and some undiluted. They adopt mental model patterns from their favorite scientists. They think they must come to a point where they have to form a conclusion about their past or even current life routines and personal beliefs, all to be perceived as an intellect among their neurotypical peers.
Oh, do forgive me, but I simply must interrupt. All this memorizing, posturing, and intellectual peacocking, as though truth were a parlor trick one performs to earn polite applause at tea. Serious. My dear hearts, intelligence is not a costume one dons to impress the neighbors. Nor is wisdom awarded for reciting the correct opinions at precisely the correct dinner parties. If that were the case, history would be positively overflowing with enlightened souls. Do carry on. I merely wish to remind you, thinking is not the same as remembering what you were told to think. You know?
Let me slow this thinking down for a moment. Because this isn't about ego, it isn't about superiority, it isn't about intelligence. It's about perception, and it's about inheritance. Now, I want to be very precise with my language here because this isn't an insult, it's a diagnosis of a pattern. We live in a world where most people were never taught how to think independently or metabolize negative life events. Fortunately, this is a topic most tenured ADHD people do not struggle with, but we do still live in a world of neurotypicals who like to claim their intelligence status by stating a perceived side, religion, or science. So let's talk about it. I'll break it down, and then I'll give my conclusions. And before anyone thinks this is about them, it's not. This includes me too. We all come here with our preconceived biases, perception filters we have developed since birth. Even I have biases, which biases are highly influenced by my pre-Earth memories, near-death experiences, spiritual experiences, and the various divine puzzle pieces I'm required to connect together also. It's each of our own soul responsibilities in this life to always be refining our filter system to be more aligned with pure universal truth, seeking only after the light that genuinely and infinitely ascends everyone within our sphere of influence.
Aye, well said that. Refining one's filters, polishing one's lenses, a noble pursuit, truly. Though I cannot help but notice how very earnest you all become whilst insisting upon your own objectivity. Pure universal truth, you say, yet each of thee peers through spectacles ground by custom, comfort, and the opinions of thy favourite authorities. Do not mistake me, I adore conviction. I simply find it ever so charming how rarely it survives a proper examination. Pray continue. Self-reflection is such a rare entertainment these days.
All right, we'll continue. So, let's look at how this actually plays out in the real world. There are many people who walk the university halls who are known as creationists. We've all heard them. They're people who believe that the earth was literally made in 6 days. Then you get other people walking the halls who are Darwinists. We've also run into those. They believe that a select set of Charles Darwin's theories are fact, such as a particular evolution of humans. These are two competing belief systems. Next, you get the creationists again believing that the earth was created in literally 6 days. However, I'm now referring to the creationists who not only believe in the scholarly formed Nicene Creed, but the clerical evolved interpretations of the creed. Then you get astronomers who adopt the creedist theory of the Big Bang, which is now mainstream astronomy. Now, while they appear to be two different systems of belief, these are actually two complementary belief systems, providing common ground, just enough to allow both parties to work together on various projects like getting the James Webb Telescope out there. I'm not saying this complementary belief system is correct, which is another variable you can add to your mathematical function arsenal. The creationists, creedists, Darwinists, and mainstream astronomers are often operating from inherited assumptions they've never been taught to question, and later I'll explain why that matters.
Ah, there it is, the mattering of it all. You see, my dears, assumptions are such curious little creatures, inherited quietly, worn proudly, and defended most fiercely by those who never chose them. Why, I have watched entire centuries pass whilst perfectly clever minds argued themselves hoarse, all the while standing upon foundations they never once thought to inspect. 'Tis not ignorance that leads one astray, but the comfort of believing one has already arrived.
Are you another Nixara from a different timeline?
Oh dear boy, that's the mystery in it, and you'll be asking old self all day. Do go on. I am most eager to hear why this all matters.
Okay, next, let's take this further. I love the words of Jesus Christ as far as the words have landed to us undistorted. And there is a load of distortion from memory distortions, translation distortions, script transference distortions, cultural distortions, and so on and on and on. Now, you have thousands of organized Christian religions, and not all of them embrace the Nicene Creed. Yet their adopted doctrines and dogmas span a spectrum of truth versus theory that goes beyond a quick discussion here. There are many people throughout our history who have recognized the doctrinal flaws of the big church, which continues to influence breakoffs. Was Martin Luther spot on with his claims? Mostly, perhaps, yes, but even he lacked the ultimate source of divine enlightenment and produced his fair share of distortions. Now, we'll move on to Buddhism. I also love the words of Buddha, but again, only as far as the words arrive to us undistorted and even understood correctly, as he received them through enlightenment. Then again, like all prophets, Buddha too was just a man with mortal flaws and distorted cultural traditions, practices, and belief systems. Plus, something people generally don't realize. Buddha was not a Buddhist. But again, his words are to be treasured and dissected, just like any inspired prophet's words should be. Chatting about Buddha could lead us to another treasure within Hinduism, but we're not going into a big discussion about what religion is right or wrong in this transmission. So if you need that discussion, then I encourage you to watch my many videos about religion and the neurodivergent spiritual pilgrimage. Really though, watch all my videos, because the principles are all mathematically complementary, and I leave many breadcrumbs and valued gems for you that I brought with me from my fully collaborated vivid memories of our pre-Earth life, which have repeatedly passed through my atomic level introspection filter.
Aye. That sort of remembering does tend to leave a mark, my atomic loves. Most souls spend their days skimming the surface of thought, never daring to descend far enough to trouble the deeper currents. But there are those rare, inconvenient creatures who insist upon examining every layer again and again until even the smallest truth has been turned in the light. 'Tis not an easy pilgrimage, that, nor a fashionable one. Still, it does rather explain why some of you see patterns where others see only noise.
For those tenured pattern recognizers watching or listening, who have developed and refined the ability to see beyond just words, you already know the conclusion. But I'm going to give it anyways for those who need to hear it more plainly. This is something we've stated in other videos, so for some, it might just feel like a reminder. Yet, I do also recognize that I'm mostly preaching to the ADHD choir.
Aye. If you're feeling a little stretched right now, that's okay. That tension is exactly where growth happens. And growth does have a habit of feeling rather uncomfortable at first. Still, better a stretched mind than a stagnant one, wouldn't you say?
Everything up to this point has been set up. Now comes the hard part. Most of the world has become invested in their biases or systems of belief. However, mere belief that you don't know as absolute fact should never be part of your perception filter, period. How do you know if you really stand firm to a belief? You would be willing to stake your life on it, to the point that you're willing to face Almighty Omniscient God with absolute confidence and real humility that it is true and completely worthy of the sacrifice of your entire existence, full dedication, and ultimate judgment from the outcomes in pursuit of that so-called belief. These beliefs can also include theories, speculations, cultural traditions, or hypotheses labeled as conclusions from observations that do not include every single factor in the universe. I hope you're seeing a pattern here already. A quick pause. Do you really think God would allow us to come to this mortal, limited, and blinding virtual world without a way to confirm patterns as either truth or error? We all have our unique, God-given gifts to lead us on the path filled with the choices we need to take us to where our heart truly desires. However, this requires prayer, absolute humility, and sincerity. Okay, we can continue on. There's a difference between functional truth, what works within limited variables, and absolute truth, which accounts for all variables, seen and unseen. Now, accounting for all variables is a divine pursuit.
Divine indeed. For to seek all variables is to admit that one's own sight is incomplete, and that, my dears, is the first true act of humility. Most mistake certainty for strength, when in truth it is curiosity that carries the greater courage. To pursue the whole is to accept that the whole shall forever exceed thee. And yet, loves, what a noble reaching it is.
This mortal life is a setup. There are both seen and unseen variables that influence our decisions and direction. We only have one grounding point or a firm and immovable anchor we can use to navigate through the delusions, darkness, malevolence, uncertainty, and smorgasbord of exotic claims. What if the spiritual realm is really leading us astray, right? Well, there are spiritual sources that do just that. Then, how do we know what is truth or error from the spirit realm? Should we not know more than we do now? The answer is, you can know more, yes, but only if you look under the right rug, which is a puzzle from beyond the veil that is tailored to your own personal eternal needs. So, it's your own crusade for the goblet, the Holy Grail. We have been given an anchor, if we so choose to grab a hold of it. An anchor directly from the spiritual realm. Each one of us has access to it, to feel it, that is, from the spiritual realm. That anchor is the grand tethering and guiding love of God that reaches every corner of the cosmos, including your own life. So, if that's the case, then should we not think it an important thing for us to learn how to recognize and mimic that love in our daily lives, in every step we take, in every thought we think, in every act we do?
Indeed, for love recognized is love remembered. To think with it, to walk with it, to act in its likeness. This is how the eternal makes itself known within the fleeting. Not through certainty, nor conquest, nor the loud insistence of being right, but through the quiet discipline of choosing light again, and again, and again. That, my dear ones, is how the divine learns to move through mortal hands.
Now, with that anchor in place, we can finally return to the question we started with. So, let's go back to the beginning. Religion versus science. They're one and the same. Why do I state that? Because everything is spiritual, and even if the corporate lawyers interpret otherwise, spirit came before mortal matter. Now, the real question is, where can you find the most truth? The pure mathematical patterns that connect everything together into one grand body of enlightenment. That's the religion I strive to live every day. That's the religion I was sent here to Earth with the memory clearly intact. That's the science I work to embrace every waking hour, even in my prayers. So, here's your equation. Truth equals light equals intelligence equals the glory of God, which means that the more pure reality of truth you consume, the more like God you become, to become closer to the ultimate inheritance you are meant to claim a hold to, the divine order in which you are destined to become initiated into, the order of pure cosmic mathematic truth. You are divine, sons and daughters of the ones who hold this earth in orbit with the scientific physics principles of eternity, and who's crafted this beautiful planet with the intention of colonizing it for us to have a chance to learn how to be individuals. That is your destiny, if you so choose.
Ah, yes. Choice. The one gift never taken from thee, my dears, not forced by heaven, nor demanded by fate, but offered patiently, again and again. For destiny is not a command, my loves, it is an invitation. And whether thou answer it, even before birth, it has always been entirely thine.
I'm now going to present some illustrations, not proofs, breadcrumbs pointing toward a larger pattern. For those who are interested in science examples, here's what we have discovered. 1. The oldest rocks we have thus far as carbon dated on Earth are 4.4 billion years old. Could there be older rocks? Possibly. 2. The Hubble telescope's redshift can only see under 14 billion light years away, which is very blurry and really inconclusive. 3. The James Webb telescope's redshift limitation is estimated to be almost 15 billion light years away. 4. From a spiritual epistemology, the Big Bang Theory originated as a religious doctrinal theory conceived by a Catholic priest to prove the Nicene Creed. Does that make it wrong? Not in itself, but you can continue to witness the religious zealots of the theory pressing the timeline of the Big Bang further and further beyond the redshift. This is the pattern they've used and continue to use even today. It's a religion of mere belief, not even scientific. 5. Creatures of the earth, including humans, do physically change or evolve to fit into their environments. 6. Human DNA includes amazing and surprising building blocks. 7. There are more genetic similarities between a male chimpanzee and a man than there are between a man and a woman. 8. People have been around much longer than 15,000 years, according to historical records from Australia. 9. While the common tradition states that Jesus Christ died for you and me, in reality, Jesus Christ was resurrected and is still revealing himself to people even this very day. Want to dig deeper? Watch my other videos, mate, and continue watching them. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. 10. Next, God speaks to all of God's children, even though they may plug their ears. 11. Last, the earth is inhabited by a diverse set of people, some delusional, some intelligent, and some handicapped more than another. Each one carries DNA that is different than the next, has different preferences for entertainment, differences in ambitions, abilities, blind spots, shades of skin, eye colors, hair colors, etc., etc., etc. Yet, we're all still sisters and brothers together, complementary in our current telestial realm, completing the circuitry of our individual tailored experiences.
If that little catalogue of notions unsettled thee, good. For it is not comfort that awakens the mind, but curiosity. And curiosity, my dear ones, has ever been the first true step toward wisdom.
Hey, check this out. Have you ever tried looking into a mirror to compliment yourself? I am wise. I am handsome. I am completely full of myself, mates. Seriously though, how do affirmations work for neurotypicals? It's definitely a mystery to me.
Oh, do be careful with that mirror, dear. Stare too long, and one risks mistaking reflection for revelation. Still, from what I have gathered through observation, confidence is rather charming when worn lightly.
Science says, measure the stars, count the steps, chart the scars. Religion says, feel the flame, know thy heart, speak the name. Science asks, how does it work? Religion asks, why does it hurt? One seeks proof, the other grace, both just trying to map the place. One peers out through lens and light, one looks in through prayer at night. Different tools, the same old quest to understand what makes us us. sense and wonder more. Truth's a house with many doors. If you're curious, you're doing fine. Welcome home, you brilliant mind.
Until next orbit, chat with you again, mate.
You've seen the stars, you've felt the tone, foretelling from the lunar dome. If this hit deep, don't drift alone. Like and subscribe